Wilhelm and the Dragon. Okay. Oh, no, that was a different one. Wilhelm and the Flame of Idris. The desert sun beat down on the knight's head. It had to be 1,000 degrees inside of his steel suit of armor. He was sweating buckets inside of there. Flies were buzzing around his head and in and out of his helmet. He had to pee and he was losing water. He had a stone on his tongue to drive away the thirst. He had a fresh wound on his leg and it was in need of cleaning. The chainmail was heavy and it burned his tan skin. He kicked some sand and knelt. He felt as if he was done. He took a last breath. Then he took to the ground as hoofbeats approached. He looked up at the shadowy figure of the knight dressed in black shroud. He tried to speak, but nothing would come out. The horse neighed, and then Wilhelm fell unconscious. He woke in the arms of an angel, her dark black hair trailing down to her shoulders, eyes deep brown in the same black clothes. "I'm Wilhelm," he muttered. She smiled, dabbing his forehead. "I'm Adria," she replied. "You had a fever. I stitched your wound. It will take time to heal." The young Wilhelm coughed. "Thank you," he said. "Do you know where I am?" "Baldavir," she replied, looking down at the small chain necklace with a clover. "Are you a magic, Sir Knight?" He smiled back, wincing at the pain in his side from a broken rib. "An old life," he replied, hiding the chain. "Oh, I had no idea," she said, looking away with shame. The magics were the oldest of knights. They had powers unimaginable, but it was death to leave their ranks. They roamed the four kingdoms as they had no lands of their own, only an oath. "Thank you for your help," said Wilhelm, reaching up to grab her wrist and look into her eyes. It was death to anyone who helped such a man. He was cursed. The only way to regain his honor was to do a deed greater than the gods. He was handsome, blue eyes and long fair chestnut hair, but it was wrapped in a bandage and bloody. "You're welcome," she said. "What clan are you from? I don't recognize the black shroud," he asked. He wondered if she had dyed her hair, too. "I am clanless," she replied. The young magic had heard of the clanless of Baldavir, but had never met one. They were the poor and desperate, given meaningless jobs no other could bear, such as caring for the sick or dying or already dead to prepare them for burial in the mass graves of Idris. How one such as this could procure a horse for pay was hard to imagine. "The horse?" asked Wilhelm. "'Tis my father's. He was a fire mage," she replied. "Fire mage, but then you would be as well," said Wilhelm questioningly. "No, I gave up that life to be with my mother," said Adria. To add emphasis to her words, she lit a small lamp, bursting flame from her palm with a breath. "Good night, Sir Wilhelm," she paused, looking at his helm, name on his shield. When he woke, there was a set of black clothes at the end of his bed and a turban. He wondered why she was helping him. As he stepped out into the street market in the hot sun, To some boys playing on the cobblestones, Adria handed him a hot tea she heated with her hand. Do they fit? She asked. Like new, he replied. She smiled. They came from a dead guy. He spit out his tea. She laughed. I'm only joking. Sheesh, he said. Not really. She walked away, smiling. That's not funny, replied Sir Wilhelm, chasing after her. You'll have to get used to the dead, Sir Wilhelm, replied Adria, if you are to be such as this. Sir Wilhelm frowned. I can't be a barrier. Why not, said Adria. You are not a magic, she raised a brow. She pointed to a drunk in an alley. There's your first victim. The man was clearly dead and most likely liver failure. The young knight heaved the dead man's form over his shoulder. He pretended he couldn't smell it, but it smelled horrible. He never had to clean up the bodies he killed. What do I do with it? He asked begrudgingly. Come with me, she replied. They went down to a small hut after their 3 flights of stairs. It was in an alley where he had never been. What is this place? He asked. Did you think a dish was a place, or just a byline in your night songs, Wilhelm? Asked the pretty clanless Adria. She pulled back the curtain. There was a fire with stacks of dead bodies, and men and women in black throwing them on the fire as they dissolved to nothing. Children in black were playing knucklebones. Welcome to the fires of a dish, Wilhelm. He looked down at the children playing the gruesome game. We have little but what the dead provide. A watch here, a hair clip there. We trade and make use of what we can. Thus is life. You throw the first one yourself. Yidi, she yelled. Throwing Yidi, the bottle, clenched still in the dead man's hand, she stripped the body naked in Wilhelm's arms and passed around the garments and some coins. We share to survive, Adria pointed to the flame of Idris. Wilhelm chucked the body.